Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome a talent that embodies versatility and dedication in the world of entertainment. Our guest today has had the privilege of working under the guidance of acclaimed directors like Guillermo del Toro, Megan Follows, and Jonas Roberts, with an illustrious repertoire that includes breathtaking performances alongside Ron Perlman, Mark Pavoloni, and Sally Hawkins, and Elizabeth Moss. He has effortlessly navigated between cinematic spectrums, leaving an incredible mark in each role he portrays. His journey is an ode to the art of transformation, often spending hours behind the scenes, changing into an array of characters, monsters, and mysterious personas brought to life through his meticulous dedication. From the haunting atmospheric realms of Nightmare Alley and the chilling suspense of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, to the poignant storytelling in The Shape of Water, his repertoire resonates with depth and diversity, showcasing an actor who, at every portrayal, is a testament to his approach. Now, these are just a few of his many credited titles. But beyond the glitz and glamour of the silver screen, there's a gentle soul whose patience and understanding is as remarkable as his talent. And standing beside him through the whirlwind journey is his loyal companion Lando, the little chihuahua who serves as a steadfast co-pilot. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to an artist whose dedication, skill, and passion continues to captivate audiences worldwide. Matthew MacCallum, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you so much, Christopher. That is one of the introductions I think I've ever had. Halfway through, I was like, "Who are you talking about?" And then you brought up my dog, who just kind of walked in and walked back out. He may pop in and out, but yes, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. I have my coffee, nicotine lozenge because I'm in the middle of quitting smoking right now. So yeah, I'm ready to go. And yeah, thank you again. I really appreciate that.
Well, a virtual cheers and best of luck to your journey of quitting smoking.
Yeah, it's been rough. This is I think the fourth time I've tried, but it's going really well now. So, and currently working on something where it's another heavy makeup role where I have to wear dentures. So it's the perfect time to like, okay, we're going to start doing this. And yeah,
Well, it's all about progression, not perfection, right?
exactly. Yeah.
So I want to dive into this with you here, and I'm going to circle back to that new makeup role you're talking about. But when did you first discover your passion for acting?
Goodness. It's funny because when I started in this business, I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Oh,
And it goes all the way back to my mom was originally from Stratford. So during summers, I would spend a lot of time with my grandmother there. And she would always take me to the odd play. But my big thing is I love to tour the festival theater. So I've done that tour probably, oh my goodness, probably 12 or 13 times. And I was fascinated just by the background production side of it. Um, so like how they would create all like the makeup effects and the costumes and build all these incredible weapons that you could use on stage and like actually stab someone, but it was a collapsible blade. And I was just fascinated by that whole thing. And then obviously as I got older, I'm the perfect age for the Star Wars era. So I'm a massive George Lucas fan. So that became like the next thing, like, oh, people can actually do this as a living. Um, so yeah, it just started with a fascination of like how the production side of it. And I don't know if you remember, there used to be an A&E series.
mhm.
It was called Movie Magic, I believe. And I used to rush home and watch it every day at 4 o'clock. It would air, and I would come home from school and just watch that. And it could be anything from Raiders of the Lost Ark to Poltergeist to just anything that would just show how they made the movie. So my whole fascination was behind the scenes. And then as I got older, I got into writing because I grew up in London, Ontario originally. So kid from London, Ontario, not many people make it to Hollywood, quote unquote. Or so I initially was like, well, I guess I'll just be like a novelist. And I just got a passion for writing. As I got older, my mom got very sick with cancer and passed away when I was 21, and I was one of the primary caregivers. So the tail end of high school for me from 16 to 21 was all focused on her.
Mhm.
Was not the best student, obviously, but writing and film was there for me. That was my escape. That was where I went, any downtime, VHS copy of Empire Strikes Back or going to the theater. And we had a repertory theater in London. So I became a membership there and would watch like Psycho or Apocalypse Now, or just like these fantastic, amazing films that would just like, I could just fall into them and become part of that. And then once my mom passed away, I was working in a factory and just had saved up some money and went to film school because I was just like, the one thing with my mom's death that it taught me was you kind of only go around once. Mm-hmm. And if I was going to do something, I wanted to follow my passion. So I went to film school for a bit, ended up dropping out, and came back and made some short films, worked on crews, started in locations, which is kind of the lowest of the low, which is you're changing garbages and setting up chairs in the lunchroom and working with background actors. And I realized then I just like being on set. I feel comfortable on set. I feel like it's outside of my condo here with my partner and my dogs. That's the only time in life I feel completely comfortable and safe and happy. So I just started working there, and the acting thing I fell into. I always appreciate actors. It's a talent I didn't think I had. My talent, like I said, was always writing and storytelling, and acting is a big part of storytelling. I made a joke on set to one of the makeup artists. We were working on a project, and there was a bunch of other actors playing zombies, and I just kind of I'm a thin guy to begin with, and I was like, if you ever need like a corpse or anything, just give me a call. And then about maybe 3 years later, I was in one of the Mila Jovovich Resident Evils. I was in Resident Evil Retribution, where I played a Russian army zombie, and from there it went from that to the Mortal Instruments City of Bones, where I did they were called the Silent Brothers, which was a full prosthetic with my mouth sewn shut. And then from there just kept snowballed and snowballed and snowballed to kind of where I am now. I get a lot of jokes saying a lot of the makeup guys, because I'm very, very good friends with all of them, just through working with them, but also I really appreciate what every department does. I love the aspect of production design and the makeup effects and wardrobe. Like because they're all artists and they're all talented in their own ways. And I like really talented artists. So I've become fast friends. And the joke I always get is like, you're going to be the next Doug Jones, who is Guillermo's go-to guy. He is, he's Abe Sapien. He's in, he plays, I believe, 2 or 3 characters in Pan's Labyrinth, but he is the go-to thin, makeup guy. So that's kind of where I ended up now. And now I'm branching out into roles where you can actually see my face, which is a lot of fun. I've done a lot of, I took drama in high school, but I didn't take it that seriously. During the pandemic and just before, I really heavily got into taking a lot of acting classes. And growing up, as I said earlier, like loving film, growing up, I read a lot about actors, DVDs and Blu-rays, which I miss now for physical media. For anybody out there, that is free film school. The directorial commentary is free film school. Like, you just sit there and listen and you hear everybody's different approach, and you kind of glean little tidbits here and there. So that's kind of where I am at now. So, yeah.
Well, it's amazing. I want to circle back to a comment you had made. You said that, when you were in school and your mom was passing, and I'm sorry to hear of the struggle, when you were working in a factory, if you didn't kind of fall in love with this behind the scenes world of acting and figuring this all out and now being in camera, what do you think you would have done?
I probably would have been a novelist. Like, that was my big thing. I was also a big comic book fan, so I toyed with that. I'm not a great artist as far as drawing, but I mean, I've always been kind of an early adopter with technology too. So with things like Adobe Illustrator, and there are tools out there that if you're not the greatest, I'm not an AI fan at all, obviously, but there are tools out there that you can use to kind of help you get your visual message across and writing. And self-publishing now has just become fairly easy for anybody to do. So I probably would have become a novelist. I still toy with the idea. I don't write as much as I should. But yeah, I still kind of toy with the idea here and there. So yeah, that's probably where I would have ended up.
Acting often requires tapping into deep emotions and exploring vulnerable parts of yourself. Can you describe a role or a performance that has just really impacted you emotionally, profoundly like that?
Yes. I did a Canada the Story of Us, which was our big CBC had done the big giant docu series. And if I pop up, it's funny because I was still kind of doing background there. And if you pay attention, I pop up probably 6 times in that. And I would make the joke that I'm like Doctor Who. I'm a Time Lord because I played a fur trapper. I played a World War I soldier where I get shot by. I play a German soldier who gets shot by a Canadian soldier during that. And then the one I'm trying to think of the other ones. A rioter during one of the labor disputes. But the big one for me was the story of Red Crow. I don't know if you know about that. It was the residential school sit-in that happened in, I may get the dates wrong. I want to say the 60s. And I got to play a residential school priest in that. And I had read a little bit of our history surrounding that, but it wasn't as widely covered as it is now. So I got to sit in with a lot of Indigenous actors of various age groups and just got to sit and listen and understand. I don't want to go too personal, but I've had, outside of my mom being sick, I had a little bit of an abusive childhood, sexual and physical and otherwise. So there were parts of that that really like home learning more about it. Having to grab a small First Nations actor by the back of the neck at the end of cut, I was very much, are you okay? Are you okay? I don't want to hurt anybody to begin with, but in a situation like that, when you're embodying that role and you have to bring forth so much, I guess, negative energy and anger, I didn't want to be overreacting and hurting the child. But during the course of a lot of the conversations that I was having, specifically with the older Indigenous actors I was working with, there was a lovely lady, and I feel terrible because I forget her name right now. But when I came out of wardrobe and I'm in the full priest collar regalia, recoil, but she reacted and smiled at me. And I looked at her and I was like, what? She's like, you look exactly like one of the priests I had when I was at a residential school. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And she smiled and she's like, no, he was one of the good ones, which at the same time, like a little bit of a relief. And at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, that doesn't really make it better in the overall of that. So that one really, really hit me hard, more so like when I reflect on it now. Moment it hit me hard, but when I look back on it and really reflect on it, I'm grateful for the learning opportunity. I always, and I'm half joking, the white guilt during that shoot was completely deserved, but also very high because you realize what has happened to an entire generation and group of people that shouldn't have happened. So that was the big one. I'm lucky in a lot of ways that most of the stuff I work on is fantasy or horror or comedy, which is a lot lighter and a lot easier for me to deal with. Like if I play a monster, it's I have to tap into darkness, obviously, depending on the role I'm playing. But because it's so fantastical and so out there, there's not really. It's hard. It's just to kind of go with it. I don't have to ground it so much. Like I always do some sort of grounding if I'm playing that kind of character, but I mean playing that compared to playing say the zombie in Resident Evil and Welcome to Raccoon City, that's easy because a zombie is an amoeba. My only job, my only purpose in the world is to eat and procreate. That's it. There's nothing else going. It's instinctual. So
You had mentioned grounding. For some of us who don't know, can you explain to us what you mean by that? Like you're grounding the character or grounding your performance?
When I ground, well, at least for me, it's very interesting. The more I study, it's different for every actor. I'm finding we all have like you hear the work or the process, and it's different for all of us. It's completely very very different as every actor comes at it from a different way. For me, grounding is as fantastical or unbelievable as the world I'm in.
Okay.
I try to find something within myself that makes it real. There's something I have to connect something in that character, whatever it is, to myself so I can believe I am that person in that world. With all the insanity going on around me, be it like, I'll use Star Wars for an example. Um, Spaceships, you have alien races, you have all this fantastical things going on around you. But at the end of the day, we're talking about human emotion and human experience. So I have to find something within my own life that I can bring to that character that makes it not only believable for me, but believable for the audience. Because if the audience doesn't buy it, you're done. Like that's my experience. It's like you're done. But yeah, we all come at it from very, very different ways. I tend to, like I said, I tend to look for something in my own past, um, good or bad. And in some cases, it doesn't even really apply to what's going on in the scene.
Mhm.
I've connected to something in the words or maybe a small behavior or a reaction that I think will fit. And that can ground me and give me that moment that I can build off of by using the text or what the director wants. Say, yeah, I'm trying to give an example from that, but yeah, that's how I come from it. It's for me, it's hard to explain. Um,
Oh, I appreciate that.
some of it's instinct, watching a lot of movies and watching a lot of Nightmare Alley. Works so closely with a lot of that talent. I got to watch everybody's different process, which was fascinating. The one thing I'm grateful for that I learned starting off in crew, which is, and they tell you this in acting classes when you're coming up, which is, and I think in a lot of industries you're told this, which is eyes open, mouth shut, speak when spoken to. And I really, really keep that in my heart and I listen. I'm a great people watcher, so I'm always observing. I was sitting because we were post COVID with that shoot. Um, we got all the main cast, which I was luckily to be a part of. We're kind of all sequestered together, whereas on sets with bigger stars, the moment they say cut, a lot of them go back to the trailer.
Mhm.
Because we were on location and Guillermo built this incredible, fully functioning 1930s era steam powered fairground, like what you see in the back when you see the carnival there, that actually operates and is actually steam powered at like period exact. It was insane. There were live animals there. The bumper cars worked. Like everything was functional. So you're in this that helps you ground as well because you are in this place. But because we were kind of far away from where the trailers were, and like I said, we were COVID, like just post COVID. I think we were the first production in Canada to come back. They made sure everybody who was on camera and sharing scenes together, we were all put in one spot.
Mhm.
So the scene where Bradley Cooper sits down and they go through the whole grift of the mind reading, like the I forget that term off the top of my head. But when they go through that little bathtub sequence,
Mhm.
that is where we were sequestered. The inside of that is a set. The outside facade was an actual building. So between cut, we were all kind of sequestered in there. So I have the back of my chair hanging on the wall, but all our chairs were side by side. So when I would come back and sit in my chair, right across from me is Tony Collette. To my right is Ron Perlman. A couple of chairs down to my left is Willem Dafoe. And it's just like I'm sitting here with not only icons, but a lot of people I admire and look up to. And just to get to sit and listen to them process how they were going about the scene was fascinating. But then going back to my initial point, when Tony Collette and I were having a conversation, she'd gone on a bike ride on the weekend. It was very, very cold. We were laughing and joking, and she was like, "Oh, I'd forgotten to bring gloves," and I'm like, "We're in Canada. I understand it's warm in Australia right now, but we're in Canada. Like, you should have brought gloves." The next scene is her crying scene when the whole group it was a big crying scene where her mentor dies, and we had gone from having this lovely, quiet, funny human conversation to, okay, everyone run up and on action, and we all surround, and she's holding her mentor and just like bawling, like guttural sobbing, and it was like a light switch went off. And in that moment, I'm standing there and I'm kind of like, I don't think I'm made for this business. Like, I can't do that. Well, I have a complete different skill set than her.
Yeah.
But being able to be that close and to watch it happen was fascinating and enjoyable. And I mean, Ron Perlman called me kiddo at the end of the set, which is, coming from a single parent family, it's just like, I want him to be my dad in a lot of ways. Bradley Cooper came up to me, and then the first day I walked on set, he came right up to me, introduced himself, and shook my hand. Like, everybody was so friendly and welcoming, and it's what I love about film is that communal team kind of environment. We're all here to make the best product possible. And when everybody is like that and on the same page, it's the easiest, even on hard, cold days under a rain machine. It was physically horrible, but emotionally and just the camaraderie just brought it up. And Willem Dafoe is completely different than what I had in my mind because I have the preconceived notion of the characters he plays. And as a person, there's a twinkle in his eye. He's like a child. My friend Troy James, who's known as Twisty, he's a contortionist. He was the Snake Man in that movie. He and I are great friends, and he's the one who pointed out, he was like, Willem just has this childlike twinkle in it. And as soon as he said it, I could see it. And just a wonderful, friendly human being. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that. It's probably the role I'm most grateful for.
And Matthew, what kind of advice or tips would you give to aspiring actors who are just starting in the industry?
The eyes open, mouth shut. That's a big one. You learn a lot. At least I did. You learn a lot. And it's something I'm still learning, which is everything you do in life can be applied to this craft. So go out, and it's been told to me a few times, just go out and live life. Go out and even just go to the mall and watch people interact and behave and just be themselves, because there's something you will glean and pick up from. Mm-hmm. It's also a long journey. If you're in this for fame or money or anything like that, there's a very, very few people who are going to make that. I am grateful that it's been, I think, 6 years now where I haven't had to work a day job, maybe 8. But before that, I was constantly working a day job and here and there picking up little small things. It's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to second guess yourself. I do it all the time. I struggle with imposter syndrome quite a bit. And it's even on what I'm working on right now. I brought it up to working a lot with a stunt coordinator for some of the scenes. And we were filming stuff for the director just on our iPhone, just to give examples. And at the end of it, I'm just like, at the end of everything we did, I'm very much like, was that good? And he's like, it's fine. Like, it looks great. In my head, I'm constantly saying, like, I'm going to lose this job. I'm going to mess this up, which is something we all have. Difficult to let go. But the one thing is, once you have the job, you have the job. They're not going to get rid of you. You were chosen for a reason. So yeah, any beginning actor, it's a journey. You will get there. Persistence is your friend. It can be cutthroat at times, but stay true to yourself. If you don't get the role, you don't get the role. There are a million reasons they don't pick you, and most of them have absolutely nothing to do with your acting ability. It has to do you're too tall, you're too short. In my case, you're too thin, you're too heavy, you're too light skinned, you're too dark. Like there are your eyes are the wrong color, your hairstyle is the wrong. Like there are a million reasons they don't pick you. That doesn't mean you don't have value and you're not talented. So
But Matthew, if someone said to you, "What's something that scares you?" What would you say?
what scares me? Spiders. um Honestly, what scares me the most is, and I do a lot of therapy. I very big on that. Being alone, just losing, like my partner, my friends over because of the loss of my mom and stuff. But my friends are my family, so like losing them, even a small capacity, is that's really what scares me. Is just I like to be social and to interact with people and hear their stories and share my own stories. So the fact of being alone is probably the thing that scares me the most.
And if we asked your friends what's something people tend to misunderstand about you, what do you think they'd say?
Um, oh wow. People misunderstand about me. That I'm a pushover. I'm the type of person to I'm very much a caregiver. It's a role, obviously, going back to my mom, I took on. Um, Sometimes I do it to my own detriment, put other people's concerns before my own, but I'm not a pushover in any way. If something I feel is wrong or I see an injustice I don't agree with, I will dig my heels in and say something and hold that person accountable for the wrongdoing they're doing. I come off as a very and I am. I'm a very empathetic and friendly and welcoming person, but I'm not a pushover. If that makes sense.
No, no, of course. And Matthew, where can people learn more about you?
Oh my goodness. Let me see. I got rid of X. I did that. I did that about 2 years before Elon took over because the toxicity and why I was on there was just getting too much. I'm on Threads, which is at mattmccallum.actor, Instagram at mattmccallum.actor. I'm on Blue Sky. Um, I should say when you go to Threads and Instagram, you will see at Matt MacCallum without the dot actor. That is my old account that was hacked about 3 years ago, and I for some reason Meta won't give it back to me. So the dot actor is the one I'm most active on. I have a Facebook fan page, which is just I believe it's just Matthew MacCallum. I believe. I have my personal Facebook, but that's just I use that for obviously, IMDb, obviously, and I think that's it. Oh, I'm a pretty avid gamer, so I've been debating for the last 2 years about doing a Twitch stream
Mm.
for gaming. The thing is, I do that for my downtime, so I'm in the middle of the struggle. Do I want to make what I do for pleasure and as a hobby to make that a career as well? But if you want to add me on the PlayStation Network, my username is Turnaround Zombie with all the vowels taken out. So it's TRNZMB. Yeah, sorry. TRNRNDZMBY.
And are you able to share with us anything that you're currently working on?
I have right before the strike started in the US, which did affect us. A lot of people didn't think it did, but it affected our industry pretty. I am in the finale of Umbrella Academy on Netflix, which will be coming out. I play a ghoul in that. Um, that was a wonderful, kind of bittersweet. I've auditioned for that years since the show started, and I find the very last episode I'm finally in that. I have a show on CBC Gem coming out where you can actually see my face. I do a Texas accent. It's CBC Gem series called Paris Paris. I suggest everybody go watch season 1. It's a very fun bilingual comedy. It revolves around a French teacher from Paris, Ontario. It's mostly in French, but because it takes place in Paris, there are English, so it's like Bomb Cop, Bad Cop is what I always akin it to. If you've seen that film,
Yeah.
so it's French and English. It's about a French teacher he loses his job, his family's falling apart, and then his furnace breaks. He busts a hole in his wall, and he finds a tunnel that goes from Paris, Ontario, underneath the ocean to Paris, France. So it's a quirky comedy, very magical realism. And season 2 takes place in Paris, Texas. So I'm in the first episode. I play Buck, a very redneck Texas type of person. And the premiere for that, I'm shooting a film right now, which I'll get into in a second. So I will miss the premiere, which is in Toronto on December 12th. You can get tickets through Eventbrite. It's free there. So there are free tickets for there. I'm not sure when it premieres on CBC Gem. It'll probably be sometime December, January. So there's that. And I'm currently working with Corin Hardy, who is the writer-director of the movie The Nun, on his new project. And that was a godsend during the strike because it's an Irish-Canadian co-production. It's called Whistle. Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead and all the Cornetto trilogy is in it. Sophie, what is her last name? She plays the main character, the younger main character in Yellow Jackets is in it, as well as, and I forget her name and I'm going to feel terrible, the girl from Logan, who played the young girl in the last Hugh Jack, is in it as well. So it's a horror film. I play a lot of pressure has been put on because I play multiple creatures in that. I can't give too much away. The pressure I've been put on is one of the very first one you see, which kind of opens the film. I play that as well as 2 more within it. Mm-hmm. We've been doing pre-production, rehearsals, and prosthetics fittings since beginning of October, and I finally go to camera this week. So this Friday will be my first day. As you and I have gone back and forth, the reason kind of it's because anytime, okay, yeah, we can do it this day, it's the schedule's changed, or I've had to go to Toronto to, for a fitting, or they have to cast my head or whatever. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Getting to meet with Corin has been fantastic. We're around the same age, so we have a pretty good shorthand when it comes to, and we like the same kind of movies, so it's been easy. Like, oh, I want you to move like this, and I will just like, oh, you mean like this movie, and it's just like it. So it makes it a lot easier. So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
And Matthew, I have time for one last question for you, and I really appreciate your time today. What's something that makes Matthew smile?
My goodness. There's a lot of things. My dogs, obviously. Dogs in general. A happy dog always makes me smile. What really makes me smile is I have a lot of friends who are different kinds of. I have friends who are comedians, people who are visual artists, people who are musicians, and watching them succeed always makes me smile. I had a friend of mine, Doug Koning, released a new comedy record. And I'd done stand up for a while, and I've watched him kind of grow and come into his own. So watching that, and yeah, just anybody I know who I look at as a friend in whatever aspect they're in their lives, watching them succeed, even if it's something personal, even if it's, going through therapy and they have a breakthrough, or just had a new special thing happen in their lives. That's what really makes me smile.
That's amazing. And sir, as I said, that was the last question I have for you. Thank you so much for joining us today on Coffee
thank
with
you.
Chris. Everyone out there, the amazing Matthew MacCallum. Make sure you check him out on all platforms that you can, and soon possibly Twitch as well.
We'll see. We'll see.
Remember to smile, to inspire, and have a fantastic day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.